Welcome once again to this episode of the Phil Taylor Jones Show. We bid everyone a happy Monday. We're starting off with a bang. I'm Phil Taylor Jones, your host, and we're going to be jumping off into this explosion right now. Well, as you know, yesterday they had the Democratic presidential debate, and there was one O'Malley and Sanders together, and Slithery Clinton, the ever disgusting Slithery. As far as the moderators, it was done on Channel 4, regular Channel 4, with Lester Holt and what was that woman's name? Andrea Mitchell, I believe her name is. And first of all, let me say to whoever did this, because I've noticed the past two Democratic debates were done on regular television as they should be. So whoever is at the crux of this, I appreciate and I applaud them, because something as important as getting the information gathered up to which you can choose your next leader of your country is of the utmost importance. And I find it interesting that these different stations can put on a car chase for 3 or 4 hours that's really insignificant, but they can't televise the presidential debates. As far as the Republicans go, every turn we have to hunt and peck and try to find out where they're going to be held, on which cable network or what have you. It should be done on national television, pure and simple. So if there's any one thing the Democrats have done right, is at least you can catch up with them on regular telly and not have to just go all over the place trying to hunt them down. Andrea Mitchell, she just couldn't hold herself back. She had to go and ask something stupid, something that has nothing to do with what the program was all about. She had to go and ask Bernie Sanders what he said about Slithery Clinton's whorish husband, which again has nothing to do with the trouble that we're facing. And Bernie went on to tear her up. And her response was, well, you didn't have to answer it like that. And he said, yes, I did. So to Bernie Sanders on that score of tearing up the news whore, 2 thumbs up, buddy. Now, let's go on to the debates. Lester Holt did a pretty good job of moderating. I think he slipped off the wagon once about what someone had said or something, but it wasn't so grossly over-exaggerated that it would make me look hawkishly at them. So he did a pretty good job, and that stupid Andrea Mitchell, she did a pretty good job up to that one question. So the news whores were pretty good last night. Now let's move on to the candidates themselves. Thumbs down on all 3, as far as I'm concerned. But the one that took center stage was Slithery Clinton. Ooh, big surprise there. That woman had her head so far up Bastard's rectum that she could have kissed his spleen, which is reason 1 through infinity why that woman should never be within 15 blocks of the White House, let alone in it. She is the most vile, the most disgusting, the most disgraceful person that I've seen in quite a long time. Following along behind her was together Bernie Sanders, who I at one point in time had about that much respect for. But again, he was kissing up to old bastard. And that O'Malley guy just, I try not to even recognize him. But yeah, he was a old bastard kisser. It's just disgusting. So Democrats don't need to be anywhere near the White House, because it's more than apparent that they are going to carry on old bastard's agenda They're going to carry on his legacy, and that means a hellacious time for America. Hellacious. So those that follow these Democrats, and there are a lot of them, they're very scary people to me. Very scary. Because they'll support these idiots, and anybody who supports O'Bastard is nothing more than an idiot in my book. This man has done a couple, maybe a few good things for America, but he's done so many horrible, stupid things that they far outshadow and overshadow the few little things that he may have done that may have been, minutely helpful. He's been a bad president all around. He's been a bad human being all around. He's scum. And anyone that would support him or back him or want to carry on what he has done is also scum. So that lets us know that we need to get a different situation going on in America. Different. Now, personally, I would love to see a Christie Huckabee ticket. But at this point, I would be happy to see any Republican get into the White House. If it's Trump, I'll support the guy wholeheartedly. As much as I don't like Marco Rubio, and I don't like Marco Rubio, I would pick him gladly over Slithery Clinton. And it's looking like she is going to get the nod. As crooked and as demonic as she is, she's going to get the nod because, wrong is the new right here in this society. And to elect someone, to even consider having her on that stage is wrong. When she's embroiled in so much trouble and scandal, it's wrong to even have her there. But since she is there, looks like she's getting a nod because I don't think together Bernie Sanders is going to, outdo her. I'd be watching my back if I were him because, if you mess with the Clintons, you might wind up missing. So it's evident to me now. It was evident before, but her performance last night was just so sickening. I thought I needed the bucket for his O'Bastard stupid State of the Union address, but man, I didn't need a bucket. I needed a trash dumpster for her. Oh God, that woman was disgusting. Anyway, keep on gathering your information. We don't need her in the White House. So Republicans, hopefully they can do something, but just having one in there would more than likely mean a better situation for us all around than having Slithery Clinton or any of those Democrats. Because Sanders, he's Obama is one of my best friends. We're good friends, and I supported a lot of stuff he did. Absolute turnoff when he said that. Like I said, I had about that much respect for the guy, and it totally waned. Anybody who would say that O'Bastard is their friend is either insane like him or has been smoking a mixture of crack, heroin, regular cocaine, marijuana, methamphetamine, just a cocktail of drugs they've been smoking to say that this guy is a friend, to say that this guy has done well for this country, to say that he's brought us out of a recession when we're still $20 trillion in debt. Jobs are constantly leaving because of his mismanagement. Government is a shambles. What else do I have to say? He's made this stupid, crooked deal with known harbors of terrorists and developers of terrorists known as Iran. Now they're releasing a few little people here, and that's just on the heels of embarrassing American soldiers, American fighting personnel. And then on top of that, he sends them $150 billion. And they say that this man has done good. Come on. That's fairy tale land. This bastard has done nothing but tear up this country. And that's why I say Slithery Clinton, that O'Malley bastard, and this together. I don't want him together in the White House. He needs to be apart from the White House. Get him out of there. Don't let them anywhere near the White House. Vote Republican. That's the only way we're going to make it, because they've systematically shown that they can't do anything for 8 years. Well, 7 years. This is his 8th. He's done bloody nothing but cause trouble. So that's my take on the debates for the Democrats. The executive want to weigh in before we close out the show?
Just a few outstanding points that I wanted to mention. Totally laughable. Martin O'Malley, I think the first statement he makes, or one of the very first statements, is that you elected President Obama 8 years ago to improve this nation, improve the economy, make things better for the United States, and he did that. I almost laughed out loud and went, ha! And then this Slithery actually agreeing that the Obamacare is a good thing and that the Iran deal is a good thing, and she got highly offended, speaking of Obamacare, when she thought that Bernie Sanders wanted to totally just obliterate Obamacare instead of actually change it a little bit. Found out that Bernie Sanders had something to do with writing Obamacare. I don't know if they adopted what he said, but it's another reason to not look too favorably upon him. And I found those few things kind of not favorable as far as Democrats. So like you say, this O'Malley guy is just about as butt kisser as Hillary is and towards this bastard. And I couldn't tell the difference between Slithery and bastard. The only difference was the color and the voice and the gender. I thought bastard was standing up there talking in her place. The way she was talking sounded just like the stuff he would say.
It's shameful. And, you know, that what you said is very true. And it just lets you know that if they put another Democrat in there come 2016, then where's this country going to go? The morale in this country is so low, it's got to reach up to touch bottom. People are going around and, you know, just like the tracks of my tears, you know, they're waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's just a certainty that there's a lot of unrest going on. All of this stuff about muzzies, and you know that's what really gets me. What good does it do to have them over here, other than puts a feather in O'Bastard's cap, or say the Democrats, because they follow him like a Pied Piper, that, oh, well, America is doing good because they're accepting refugees and they're kind to muzzies, or they're kind to this group or that group. It doesn't do anything for America. It does something for his position, for his prestigious stature, or what he's trying to accomplish. And that's why I said, you know, in our other show, that the government's gotten too big because they don't give a damn about what happens to the people. They don't make decisions about what happens for the people. It was stated, since you brought up Obamacare, I'll just expand on it a few little seconds here before we go off. That was something that he wanted. That was part of his legacy. It wasn't for American people. She got on there touting that there were like 19 million people signed up for it, when there's actually 29 million still without any kind of insurance. The doctors don't want to have anything to do with it. They don't want to touch it. It's a farce. It's something that he wanted to put in his cap as a feather and say, this is something I did. But is it good for the American people? No, it's not. And a lot of the stuff that these Democrats have done is not good. Another thing they wanted to say was Bernie Sanders had come up with a lot of programs that he'd like to implement. And one of the moderators asked him, well, how do you plan to fund this? And he went after the big Wall Street people. Okay, Wall Street is crooked, and they're too fat, and they're too powerful and rich and politically involved. We know this. But let's not forget the major purpose why we're broke as hell. And as Sanders said, let me be clear about this. We're going around fighting too many other people's wars. We're trying to take care of other people's shores, and we're being too damn gratuitous with these foreigners. If we would shut all of that crap off today, we could put our country on top tomorrow. We spend all of this money trying to show the world that we're this benevolent society or what have you, and we're falling apart, literally. All the bridges are falling down, the airports aren't worth a damn, the train systems suck, our roadways got potholes in them, you bust the axle in your car, some of the buildings are falling down, the system by which we are supposed to govern ourselves is falling down. And if we start thinking about American people and the American way of life and what Americans are supposed to be doing with their own country and their own people, then we can prosper. So on that score, a Trump looks very appealing. A Huckabee looks very appealing. A Cruz looks very appealing. A Christie looks very appealing. Even a pitiful Rubio looks very appealing because you're talking about American people, American needs in our own American country. So we need not to have these damn Democrats in there because, as I say, they are Democrats because they crap all over us and expects us to smile and say, oh, attaboy, doing a good job. Well, I'm sorry, you're not doing a good job. You haven't been doing a good job ever since you put this pasty-faced bastard in office, and it's time for him to leave, and it's not the time for another pasty-face like Hillary Clinton to take his place. So the last thing anybody should be doing is getting the pen ready to put an X in her box to elect her as president. The woman is a crook. She is a sleazebag, just like her sleazebag whorish husband. And the two of them do not need to go back in the White House to extend Obastard's reign. And that's my spin on it. What do you got?
I was not meaning to backtrack, so pardon me for that. But speaking of Obamacare and how good it's supposed to be, I have a friend who used to be getting Social Security disability income, SSDI, and subsequently he got switched from that just to regular supplemental security income, SSI, and he was getting Medicare and Medi-Cal, of course, for the longest time. While currently not on disability, only on the SSI, he had continued getting Medicare. Now, if Obamacare is supposed to be so good, then how come all of a sudden, shortly after it was implemented, he lost his Medicare coverage? And their reason, after having talked to Medicare, was that he was no longer on SSDI. He was no longer on disability income. Now, if that was the case, and he had stopped disability income, as I said, he got switched over years before this happened, then wouldn't common logic dictate that he would have got cut off time that he switched from SSDI to SSI, and he would have no longer got the Medicare benefits? If it was supposed to be so good, it would have got cut off way back then, not all of a sudden when Obamacare came around. It's not good at all.
All of it is crap. Anything that he comes up with is crap, and it needs to go. So that's why, I will stand firmly behind any of the Republicans that happen to get the nod. If it's Trump, fine. If it's even, like I said, as bad as I can't stand Rubio, I would get behind that pitiful mess 100% because he seems to be, for America. We got to have some kind of change. Even if they get in there and bomb, it's a question mark. If the Republicans get in there and bomb. But we know for a certainty that the Democrats have bombed.
Yes.
Because Obastard is the biggest, nastiest, disgusting explosion that Washington has ever, I can't even speak, Washington has ever seen. So my thing is vote Republican this time, and let's see what happens.
That's the kind of change we need. Speaking of the change that Obastard promised, there's been too much change for the negative.
Yeah, he went from bad to worse.
To have something different, which I think we need, the kind of change that we do need is Republicans for once, because they proved through 8 years that they can't do anything that helps the country, but anything that's for foreigners or for Muslims, which is probably the things he's been doing for them recently is probably just trying to appease his Muzzy brothers, having the middle name Hussein being a Muslim himself, Middle Eastern himself. He's
True.
Trying to appease them, because if he doesn't do good by them, then you know how easily they get offended and how easily they attack and kill and do anything negative towards anyone that slanders the Prophet of Islam.
Right. So having heard that, we know what we have to do. We have to get him out of the White House, and we need not to put a female Obastard in the White House in the name of Slithery Clinton. So that's our spin on the Democratic presidential debates, and we'll be back with you again soon with another episode of the Phil Taylor Jones Show. So until then, stay happy, take care, and be safe. Bye-bye.